We continue this series of Dave Salmon, A Man and His Camera, Part 1, Railways, with a selection of photographs that Dave captured over the Redhill to Reading line and the Woking area. Photographs taken at Barry Scrapyard, the London area, west of Woking, Guildford between 1966 and 1967, and on other regions will follow. A view towards Redhill Motor Power Depot, sandwiched between the main line to Tunbridge and the main line to Brighton. A view of signals at the country end of Redhill station. The upper quadrant signal, when cleared, would allow the main signal, not shown, to be passed at danger and allow a movement from the main line to the yards or sidings. The white diamond sign signifies to the engine crew that the signal is track circuited and Rule 55 would be exempt unless detained for an unusually long time. The half-circular subsidiary signal, shown in the horizontal position, when cleared to a 45-degree position, would allow the main signal to be passed at danger for a movement forward as far as the line is clear. BR Standard Class 4 MT 80068 looks in a sorry state as she stands in Redhill MPD on the 15th of May 1965. One of her connecting rods lays on the ground and her smokebox spark arresters are stacked by the side of the boiler framing. She was allocated to Feltham MPD the following month and was withdrawn from service in October 1966. Guildford-based N-Class 31411 stands at Redhill MPD on the 15th of May 1965. She only managed another 13 months of life and was withdrawn on the 24th of April 1966. BR Standard Class 4 MT 80085 stands forlorn in Redhill MPD on the 15th of May 1965. However, despite her rusty state, she was allocated to Feltham the following month and ended her days at Nine Elms MPD, being withdrawn from service on the 9th of July 1967. Another Redhill-based BR Standard Class 4 MT 80141 stands in the shed on the 15th of May 1965. She too was allocated to Feltham in the following month and moved to Nine Elms before being withdrawn on the 9th of January 1966. BR Standard Class 4 MT 80151 can be seen stored in Redhill MPD on the 15th of May 1965. She was allocated to Salisbury MPD the following month and ended her days at Eastleigh MPD and was withdrawn from service on the 7th of May 1967. Dave takes this shot from the cab of N-Class 31873 as they drop down the bank from Reigate towards Redhill station. Guildford fireman Jeff Ball sits beside Guildford-based N-Class 31873 as it's being turned by vacuum control at Redhill MPD. His driver, Arthur Stretfield, is on the tender helping his fireman by getting the coal forward for their return journey to Guildford. Notice the wrongly drawn BR double arrow sign that has been chalked on one of the smoke deflectors. Guildford driver Arthur Stretfield observes the vacuum gauge reading as he creates the vacuum brake on N-Class 31872 before they depart Redhill station with a passenger service to Guildford. The warning notice reads, "It is dangerous to lean out of the cab when passing stations or other structures. When necessary to lean out, be careful." This photo shows one of the two gauge glasses and its surrounding protective glass housing, which shows the water level in the boiler of, in this case, N-Class 31873. A white cloth that would be issued to footplate staff from the stores is seen tied to the side of the gauge glass. A view of the firehole door of N-Class 31872 and the fire beyond. A baffle plate can be seen within the surrounds of the firehole, and this would have been inserted beforehand to allow the inward draft of air to be deflected towards the fire area rather than the tube plate. The regulator valve of N-Class 31872, shown in the wide open position as the locomotive climbs the bank from Redhill towards Reigate Station. The other gauge glass can be seen in this photograph. Dave has obviously cadged a footplate ride back to Guildford. N-Class 31862 has just left Shalford with a passenger service for Reading, next stop Guildford. With Shalford Meadows as a backdrop, a Reading Redhill passenger service approaches St Catherine's Tunnel on its way to Guildford. N-Class 31816 heads a passenger service from Redhill in number 6 and 7 platform before departing for Reading. V-Class Schools 30930 Radley is seen here working a passenger service from Guildford to Reading in 1961. Guildford were allocated 3 of the schools class before withdrawal in 1962, those being 30903 Charterhouse, 30906 Sherborne and 30909 St Paul's. Considered to be the strongest 440 ever built, they were workhorses on the Tunbridge to Hastings and the Guildford to Portsmouth direct line before electrification in 1937. N-Class 31866 works an all stations passenger service from Redhill to Reading. N-Class 31842 can be seen berthed outside of empty Reading Southern MPD. The GWR main line and signal gantry can be seen in the background. Allocated to Guildford MPD in 1964, she was withdrawn from service on the 5th of September 1965. S15 Class 30837 has just completed the first leg of the LCGB Wessex Downsman Tour and is now at Reading Southern MPD on the 2nd of May 1965. This first leg involved working the train from Waterloo to Reading General Station via Twickenham, Staines and Ascot. N-Class 31820 is berthed at Reading MPD and is about to work a special duty according to the number 422 pasted on one of its disboards. A Guildford-based locomotive, she was withdrawn from service on the 18th of August 1963. U-Class 31791 departs Farnborough North Station with a passenger service from Reading to Redhill. N-Class 31863 runs down the 1 in 100 bank towards Guildford with a stopping passenger service from Reading bound for Redhill. The substation can be seen in the background between the running lines to Woking and the new line. U-Class 31799 struts her stuff as she leaves platform 5 at Guildford with a stopping passenger service to Redhill. N-Class 31873 takes a breather before working the 6:16 p.m. Reading to Redhill passenger service from Guildford to Redhill. Q1 Class 33006 departs Guildford with an evening passenger service to Redhill. There's steam everywhere as N-Class 31862 prepares to leave platform 8 with a stopping passenger service to Reading. With feather flying from her safety valves, rebuilt Merchant Navy Class 35019 French Line CGT rushes through Woking with the Bournemouth Express on the 25th of May 1965. Sadly, she was withdrawn the same year. On the right of the photograph, above the coaches in the sidings, is the water tower that fed the boilers and heating system of the Woking Control Offices, which was at that time the nerve centre of the South Western Division. Rebuilt West Country Class 34013 Oakhampton starts away from Woking with a semi-fast passenger service from Salisbury to Waterloo. An Aldershot and District bus can be seen outside the station. Class 34056 Croydon runs into Woking with the 10:56 a.m. Waterloo to Basingstoke semi-fast passenger service. Rebuilt Merchant Navy Class 35013 Blue Funnel accelerates through Woking with a Bournemouth Express after being signal checked on the 11th of June 1966. A post office worker is hauling a trolley of mail bags on platform 5. A mail train in the Dock Road is also being emptied of its parcels and mail bags are strewn everywhere. BR Standard Class 5MT 73087 Lynette pauses at Woking with a parcels train from Waterloo to Bournemouth on the 27th of June 1965. BR Standard Class 3MT 82006 stands in the Up Bay at Woking, which was then Platform 1, on a murky December evening in 1965. Ghostly images of the surrounding buildings and a number 5 position bus stop can be seen on the left of the photograph. The Up Bay and water column have now long gone, and platforms have now been renumbered to reflect this. Rebuilt Merchant Navy Class 35026 Lamport and Holt Line rushes through Woking with an Up Bournemouth Waterloo Express. A stopping service from Guildford Waterloo stands in the adjacent platform. Probably taken on the same day, Dave captures BR Standard Class 5MT 73088 Joyous Guard at the same location, working an Up Southampton Old Docks to Waterloo boat train. Rebuilt West Country Class 34042 Dorchester rushes through Woking with an Up Bournemouth Waterloo Express. Original Battle of Britain Class 34086 219 Squadron heads a boat train from Southampton New Docks through Woking bound for Waterloo. Rebuilt West Country Class 34032 Camelford heads a van train from Nine Elms Yard through Woking heading for Salisbury. Weymouth-based 70G BR Standard Class 5MT 73083 Pendragon, minus her nameplates, runs into Woking with an Up Bournemouth Waterloo passenger service. The numerals 97 pasted on the locomotive's headboards denote the duty number. An unidentified bullied Light Pacific runs into Woking Up Fast platform with a Bournemouth semi-fast service. The fireman of an unidentified bullied Pacific has a smoke of his cigarette as they leave Woking with a Bournemouth semi-fast service to Waterloo. Rebuilt Battle of Britain Class 34056 Croydon rushes through Woking with the Up Bournemouth Bell. Rebuilt Merchant Navy Class 35007 Aberdeen Commonwealth is checked for signals at Woking whilst working a semi-fast passenger service from Waterloo to Bournemouth. Looking across onto Platform 5, it's hard to believe how much parcel traffic went by rail in those days. Rebuilt Merchant Navy Class 35012 United States Lines runs into Woking with a semi-fast passenger service from Bournemouth. A porter hurries towards the end of the platform where parcels from the front brake van will be unloaded. Original Battle of Britain Class 34066 Spitfire works an unusual duty into Woking with a ballast train and an associated crane attached to the locomotive. 2 avid cameramen look on from Platform 4. A young photographer crouches down to get a good shot of rebuilt Battle of Britain class 34082 615 Squadron as she runs into Woking with a semi-fast passenger service to Bournemouth. U Class 31791 is the pilot locomotive of the first leg of the RCTS London branch Longmoor Rail Tour, which is run with sister locomotive U Class 31639 from Waterloo to Woking. The second leg from Woking to Liss will be headed by WD locomotive number 600 Gordon. WD class number 600 Gordon has a tender replenish before taking on the second leg of the RCTS Longmoor Rail Tour. Guildford driver Dennis Tack looks towards Dave as he takes a photograph. WD class 600 Gordon waits in the down bay, platform 6, at Woking prior to taking over the RCTS Longmoor Rail Tour. As mentioned, Guildford driver Dennis Tack conducted the train to Liss, where a variety of WD locomotives were employed on the MOD lines. The fireman looks back for the tip from the guard as rebuilt West Country class 34095 Brentor waits to leave with a semi-fast passenger service from Woking to Waterloo on the 11th of June 1966. The resident 204 HP Drury diesel East End shunting locomotive can be seen running into Woking on the down local line. 34095 had the honour of hauling one of the last steam passenger services, the 1815 Weymouth to Waterloo, on the 7th of July 1967. According to the head code disboards, BR Standard Class 5MT 73115 King Pellinor passes the huge Woking sign with a van train bound for Clapham Loop on the 26th of June 1966. A young train spotter looks on in awe as original West Country class 34002 Salisbury hurtles through Woking with the first leg of the SCTS Devonshire Rambler. In contrast, a JB type 1600 600 horsepower electro diesel is berthed on Hurdles Road, a sign of the times. Stanier Black 5 class 45349 is a visitor to Southern Metals as she works a Bournemouth to Waterloo passenger service on the 26th of June 1966. Reallocated from Northampton to Tyseley in 1965, she was then reallocated to Crewe South in November 1966, where she ended her days and was withdrawn from service in November 1967. BR Standard Class 4MT 76033 and BR Standard Class 5MT 73081 Excalibur double head a ballast train out of Woking Up Yard on the 26th of June 1966. BR Standard Class 5MT 73002 runs light engine through Woking to Nine Elms Depot on the 30th of April 1966. A Weymouth 71G based locomotive, she was withdrawn from service on the 19th of March 1967. Using the only down line available, BR Standard Class 5MT 73022 storms under to Twin Bridges location with a semi-stopping service to Basingstoke on the 3rd of July 1966, the next stop being Farnborough Main. Heading under Twin Bridges Woking, original West Country Class 34002 Salisbury deputises the LCGB Green Arrow Rail Tour on the 3rd of July 1966. V2 Class 60919 was originally booked to work the tour, but failed the previous day with a cracked framing. BR Standard Class 4MT 76033 passes through Woking with an empty long-welded rail train on the 3rd of July 1966. BR Standard Class 4MT 76053 hauls a loaded stone train out of Woking Up Yard 10 to 1st on the 3rd of July 1966. Rebuilt Battle of Britain Class 34087 145 Squadron runs into Woking with a semi-fast passenger service from Waterloo to Bournemouth on the 10th of September 1966. Original Battle of Britain Class 34057 Beckoned runs into Woking with a semi-fast stopping service from Waterloo to Basingstoke on the 10th of September 1966. 34057 was one of 3 light Pacifics to be loaned to the Eastern region on trial in May 1951, with a view to replacing the Thompson class B1s on secondary services to East Anglia. In the September sunshine, original Battle of Britain Class 34057 Biggin Hill makes an impressive sight as she blasts away from Woking with a Basingstoke stopping service on the 10th of September 1966. Dave then changes camera lenses to record the same train leaving Woking Station for its first scheduled stop at Farnborough. As young family members look on, rebuilt Merchant Navy Class 35008 Orient Line starts away from Woking with a semi-fast passenger service to Waterloo. BR Standard Class 4MT 76058 runs through Woking Station with a ballast train and ballast cleaner on the foggy morning of the 9th of September 1966. Original West Country Class 34023 Blackmore Vale runs into Woking with a semi-fast passenger service from Waterloo to Bournemouth on the 10th of September 1966. Photographers get ready as rebuilt West Country Class 34047 Corlington comes to a stand on the up-through line at Woking on the 10th of September 1966. Train spotters look on as BR Standard Class 5MT 73080 Merlin starts away with a passenger service for Waterloo on the 10th of September 1966. LNER Class A3 4472 Flying Scotsman passes through Woking with the Farnborough Flyer on the 11th of June 1966. The trip had been organised by the Gainsborough Model Railway Society. BR Standard Class 5MT 73083 Pendragon sets back into Woking East End sidings with some parcel vans on the 10th of September 1966. The head code on the front of the locomotive suggests that after shunting the train will continue to Portsmouth and Southsea. BR Standard Class 4MT 80015 runs into Woking on the down local line to take water at the end of the platform on the 3rd of June 1967. A train spotter looks on as Nine Elms driver John Gaffney turns a wheel to open the gate valve of the water column to replenish the tanks of BR Standard Class 4MT 80015 at the country end of Woking's number 5 platform on the 3rd of June 1967. Rebuilt West Country Class 34008 Padstow, minus her nameplates, is working up special passenger service from Bournemouth to Waterloo on Saturday the 3rd of June 1967. Devoid of smokebox number plate and nameplates, original West Country Class 34023 Blackmore Vale rushes through Woking with a special passenger service from Waterloo to Bournemouth on Saturday the 3rd of June 1967. BR Standard Class 5MT number 73118 King Leodegrance runs into Woking with a semi-stopping service from Bournemouth to Waterloo on the 3rd of June 1967. A plasmatic machine waits on the down local line for the signal to clear. Crowds of spectators watch as LNER A4 Pacific 4498 Sir Nigel Gresley runs into Woking Station with the Sir Nigel Gresley on Tour special working organised by the A4 Locomotives Society Limited. This is the first leg of the journey from Waterloo to Weymouth, which ran over 2 consecutive days, this being the 4th of June 1967. The rear part of a 4-core Portsmouth Express train can be seen on the adjacent platform. Dave took up a different position to record the return working of this famous locomotive and has captured the shot from Twin Bridges just outside Woking. By 1967, with steam power in its last few weeks on the Southern, a lot of attention is drawn to rebuilt Battle of Britain class 34090 Sir Eustace Missenden Southern Railway, as she runs into Woking with the Bournemouth service on the Saturday 3rd of June 1967. Young train spotters and old signalmen alike will remember those days for the rest of their lives. A young boy looks on as rebuilt Merchant Navy class 35030 Elder Dempster Lines runs into Woking Station with an up semi-fast passenger service from Bournemouth to Waterloo on the 3rd of June 1967. Rebuilt Merchant Navy class 35007 Aberdeen Commonwealth runs through Woking light engine from Salisbury on the 3rd of June 1967, probably bound for Nine Elms Depot. With safety valves blowing, rebuilt Battle of Britain class 34089 602 Squadron runs into Woking with a semi-fast passenger service from Waterloo to Salisbury on the 7th of June 1967. BR Standard Class 4MT 76066 powers away with a stopping service from Woking to Bournemouth on Saturday the 10th of June 1966, as another BR Standard class approaches on the down local platform 5 with a parcels train. The crane in the background belonging to Gilbert Ash is working on the site that is now Albion House. BR Standard Class 4MT 75075 leaves Woking with a Waterloo to Bournemouth semi-fast service on the 10th of June 1967. A stopping service to Alton can be seen on the adjacent platform. With his duffel bag draped round his neck, a young photographer captures the moment as rebuilt West Country Class 34004 Yeovil, minus her nameplates, is about to leave with a semi-fast passenger service to Waterloo on the 19th of June 1967. Dave is at Woking exactly a week later as BR Standard Class 4MT 80015 takes water at the country end of Woking's number 5 platform on the 10th of June 1967. Rebuilt Merchant Navy Class 35012 United States Lines runs fast through Woking with the down Bournemouth Bell in June 1967. A close-up shot of an Alton-bound 2 Bill 2148 as it passes under Twin Bridges in June 1967. Dave has positioned himself at this location for the final steam workings on the Southern. Another example of an Alton service on the same day, this time with Unit 2 Bill 2100 leading. A lovely colour shot this time with 2 Bill 2081 leading this Alton bound train. A return service from Alton to Woking the same day made up of units 2 Bill 2084 and 2 Bill 2081. Train spotters get a line-side view from the relatively safe area of the railway embankment as rebuilt West Country Class 34025 Wimpole passes under twin bridges, heading one of the last steam hauled passenger services from Waterloo to Bournemouth during the last week of steam on the 2nd of July 1967.